You clicked this video because you've played games your whole life, but still wonder which genre truly rules them all. Puzzle, platformer, roguelike rage fests, or maybe that one zombie game that somehow still haunts your brain. Today, we're diving deep. Every major video game genre broken down and judged by someone who spent thousands of hours rage-quitting, speedrunning, and occasionally crying over pixels. But here's the twist. Not all picks are what you'd expect, and some might just ruin your nostalgia. So buckle up, because what defines a best game is about to get flipped upside down. Puzzle games, more than just brain teasers. Puzzle games are often overlooked, dismissed as slow or simple, but the best ones, they warp reality and break your brain in the best way possible. Portal 2 is the undisputed king here, not just for its mind-bending mechanics, but for its chaotic co-op mode that somehow ruins friendships and builds them at the same time. It takes the brilliance of Portal 1's design and adds multiplayer absurdity you'll never forget. And while Subliminal doesn't get the same hype, it deserves a mention for its surreal, dream logic puzzles that mess with scale, perception, and everything in between. Still, Portal 2 takes the crown. It's clever, it's hilarious, and it forces you to think sideways. But puzzle games aren't just about solving problems. They're about how you see the world. And once you've used a portal gun to outsmart a murderous AI, you'll never look at doors the same again. Multiplayer survival. When dying is the tutorial. In multiplayer survival games, death isn't failure. It's part of the process. Whether it's Minecraft, Terraria, or Rust, these worlds are built to break you, but none test your will quite like Don't Starve Together. It's not just a survival game, it's a descent into madness wrapped in Tim Burton-style art. There's no hand-holding. You starve, freeze, and die. Then you do it again, and again. What sets it apart isn't just the difficulty, it's the lore. The world of The Constant feels alive, filled with secrets and dangers that evolve with every update. And unlike most games in the genre, Don't Starve Together punishes complacency. It doesn't care how many bases you've built. Winter is coming, and it's going to kill you, but that's the magic. When survival isn't guaranteed, every small win feels epic. And in this genre, that tension, that's what makes it addictive. Metroidvania, the genre built on getting lost. Metroidvania games thrive on one thing: getting lost and loving it. You're dropped into a mysterious world with no clear path, only to find that every dead end hides a secret, if you're clever enough to unlock it. Most fans might expect Hollow Knight to dominate this category, and honestly, it nearly did. But the crown goes to Metroid Dread. It's fast, atmospheric, and relentlessly tense. The enemy robots, pure anxiety fuel. You don't fight them, you survive them. Every room is a puzzle, every upgrade feels earned, and every boss tests your reflexes and memory. It's a game that constantly reminds you how small and vulnerable you are until you finally turn the tables. Metroid Dread doesn't just honor its genre's legacy, it elevates it, and if you've ever wanted a game that rewards both exploration and execution, this is where you start. But what if getting lost wasn't enough? What if you fell? Platformers falling with style. Platformers are gaming's oldest magic trick. Run, jump, repeat. But the best ones turn that simplicity into obsession. Super Mario Odyssey delivers pure joy with tight controls, creative levels, and moons that make you chase them for hours, even when they don't matter anymore. It's a celebration of movement, and somehow, it never gets old. But let's talk nostalgia. Rayman Origins, often overshadowed by Legends, still holds up as a chaotic, colorful masterpiece. It's harder, weirder, and yes, the nymphs are unforgettable. And then there's Super Mario Sunshine, a forgotten gem that somehow got left out of the original script. It's clunky, buggy, and absolutely brilliant. With its water-powered jetpack and tropical chaos, Sunshine is the ultimate comfort game, especially if you once tried to speedrun it before speedrun.com even existed. Platformers are supposed to be light and breezy. These, they'll make you sweat. But next, let's take those jumps and remove the safety net. Roguelikes, the games that break you, then make you better. Roguelikes aren't just games, they're gauntlets. You lose everything over and over until pain becomes progress. The Binding of Isaac stands above the rest because it isn't just about dodging bullets, it's about mastering chaos. Your success depends on knowledge, not twitch reflexes. Every item is a gamble, every run a test of memory, synergy, and sheer luck. It's the only game where doubling 8 items in a secret room can flip a cursed run into a god-tier power trip. But it's also infuriating. RNG can slap you with garbage and laugh, and yet you keep coming back. That's the curse, that's the addiction. Other roguelikes like Hades or Dead Cells might be more polished, but Isaac's raw, relentless grind hits different. It's less about surviving and more about outsmarting the game itself. And once you do, the payoff is euphoric. But now, let's trade randomness for pure lore and pain. Traditional RPGs, where story cuts deeper than swords. Traditional RPGs are where world building, stats, and suffering collide. You expect Final Fantasy or Baldur's Gate to top this list? But no, the crown goes to Fear and Hunger. This game doesn't just challenge you, it scars you. There's no XP grind, no easy victories. You don't get stronger by fighting, you get broken. Saving your game? That's a coin flip, literally. Get it wrong and you might wake up disemboweled. And yet, it's brilliant. The lore is grotesque and fascinating. The choice is brutal but meaningful. Every decision feels like a deal with the devil. Fear and Hunger makes other RPGs look like bedtime stories. Honorable mentions include Undertale for flipping tropes, Final Fantasy for emotional weight, and Princess Maker 2 for its bizarre, addictive life sim mechanics. But nothing hits like Fear and Hunger. It doesn't just tell a story, it dares you to survive it. Now, what happens when the sword starts swinging? Action RPGs, Freedom, Firepower, and Fallout. Action RPGs take the storytelling of traditional RPGs and slam a jet engine on it. These aren't games you just play, they consume you. Cyberpunk 2077 leads this pack, not because it was perfect at launch, but because it evolved into something incredible. FPS combat, deep characters, insane cyberware builds, and endings that hit way too hard. It's everything you want from a dystopian sandbox. Then there's Fallout, New Vegas, where freedom means literally murdering your quest giver and still finishing the quest. Or Monster Hunter, where your reward for killing a dragon is killing a bigger one. And of course, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Because who doesn't love big swords and bigger emotions? But Cyberpunk wins for scope, style, and how it lets you shape your own legend. It's broken, it's beautiful, and it finally became the game everyone hoped it would be. But speaking of things that never truly die, let's talk zombies. Zombie games, the undead genre that won't stay buried. Zombie games come in every flavor, chaotic, creepy, strategic, even silly. But one game still bites harder than the rest, Dying Light. It's not just the zombies, it's the parkour, the fear of nightfall, the desperation in every rooftop leap. A decade later, it still looks better and plays tighter than its sequel. Project Zomboid offers a completely different flavor. Slow burn realism where civilization crumbles and you're just another body waiting to happen. Then there's Left 4 Dead 2, the gold standard for co-op chaos, and Resident Evil 2, a survival horror classic with just the right amount of Leon Kennedy camp. Oh, and Plants vs. Zombies 2? Yeah, that mobile strategy crack still hits. But if we're picking a winner, Dying Light runs circles, literally around the rest. Its movement is thrilling, its tension real, and its world unforgiving. And if you think that's fast-paced, wait until the ground disappears beneath your feet. Parkour games. Momentum over everything. Parkour games aren't about running. They're about flow. Perfect movement, perfect timing, perfect chaos. Mirror's Edge Catalyst is the peak of that flow. It refines everything from the first game, tossing out clunky gunplay for sleek movement and real combat rhythm. It turns a sterile city into your personal playground. Still, Mirror's Edge 1 deserves credit for its raw, open-ended design. It showed you less and made you think more. And if you're broke or bored, Parkour Reborn on Roblox hits way harder than it should. No story, no filler, just pure movement mastery served with a side of skill grinding. Parkour games are underrated, but they deliver something few genres can. a sense of speed and freedom that feels earned. And yes, Dying Light could have fit here too, but it already stole the zombie crown. In this realm, Catalyst leaps ahead. Now, let's take that momentum and add a gun. FPS games, precision, power, and pure ego. First-person shooters aren't just about aim, they're about dominance, and no game feeds that hunger like Rainbow Six Siege. It's tactical, sweaty, and brutally unforgiving. Every match is chess with C4, and every kill feels like a flex. You're not just better, you're smarter. And trust me, when you hit Diamond, it shows. Ultra Kill is the opposite end, a single-player blood opera where speed is king and style is currency. Counter-Strike 2 refines the legacy of the most iconic shooter ever. And Team Fortress 2? Still chaotic, still timeless. But Siege wins for depth. You study maps like textbooks. You scream at teammates like siblings, and when everything goes right, it's pure dopamine. There's nothing like winning a 1 versus 3 clutch because you knew the angle, broke the wall, and timed the peak perfectly. But if bullets aren't enough for you, maybe it's time to drop the guns and use your fists instead. Fighting games. Pain is the point. Fighting games are where reflexes meet rage, but the real thrill? Mastery. Sifu takes the top spot for turning combat into art. It's not just about winning. It's about doing it with style, grace, and brutal precision. Every punch, parry, and dodge feels earned. If you slip, you age. If you fail, you pay. And that's the hook. It forces you to evolve. For Honor brought parry-based PvP to the mainstream with swords, shields, and salty opponents. Tekken 8 continues the tradition of complexity masked as chaos. And Gang Beasts? It's dumb, hilarious, and a different kind of skill entirely. But Sifu is the real beast here. It's cinematic, punishing, and deeply satisfying. It doesn't hand you victory, you claw your way to it. And in a world full of button mashers, Sifu makes every move matter. But what if tiny studios could deliver that same intensity? Indie games. Small studios, giant punches. Indie games don't have billion-dollar budgets, but they hit harder than most AAA giants. Ultra Kill is proof. It's a blood-soaked ballet of bullets, blending old-school Doom vibes with modern movement tech and a style meter that makes you feel like a god. It's chaos, but controlled chaos. Then there's Stardew Valley, a farming sim that somehow became therapy for an entire generation. Terraria redefined sandbox survival with more depth than most RPGs. Undertale flipped game design on its head with kindness as combat. And Disco Elysium? A masterpiece. Even if you have to pirate it just to avoid funding the dev's corporate hijackers. But Ultra Kill wins because it's pure gameplay. Tight, fast, and endlessly satisfying. It's what happens when passion meets precision. Indies remind us that great ideas don't need cutscenes or cinematic trailers. They just need heart and a few thousand obsessive hours of design. But now, let's end where pain becomes legend. Soulsborne. Soulsborne games where dying is a skill. Soulsborne games don't ask if you're ready, they punish you until you are. Sekiro. Shadows Die Twice sits at the top. It's fast, brutal, and demands perfection. You can't cheese it, you either learn or die trying. From Software built a genre, and Sekiro was their peak, a side project that ended up winning Game of the Year. Below it, Bloodborne, Elden Ring, Dark Souls, all brutal, all beautiful, but Sekiro stands alone. It's not just about surviving, it's about mastering the rhythm of violence. And once you get it, nothing else compares. But now that every genre's had its say, what's the final verdict? The final verdict. So after all the deaths, jumps, puzzles, and parries, what's the ultimate top 10? Here's the list. The Binding of Isaac Repentance, Super Mario Sunshine. Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Dying Light, Fear and Hunger, Metroid Dread, Cyberpunk 2077, Sifu, and For Honor. No fluff, no filler, just raw gameplay that leaves a mark. Don't agree? Perfect. That's what the comments are for. Drop your picks, your hot takes, and your all-time favorites. And if you made it this far, you're clearly one of us. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next genre war.